Welcome back. It's me, Cyberwarrior, and it is Tech Tuesday. So, what do we have on the agenda for Tech Tuesday? Well, let me just tell you, it's more talk about ransomware. More so, though, why it is coming back with a vengeance. All right, why is it still able to get past all of our anti-malware, EDR, whatever solutions you're using? What's going on? All right, and the other being, how is it getting on the system in the first place? So, let's start with the easiest part, how it's getting on the system. Now, I'm going to be honest, a lot of that comes down to our end users. Some of them are IT, some of them are domain admins, some of them, so it's not just, some other department, all right? Somebody, in some instances, I'm pretty sure some IT person fell for a phishing email, and they could have even been in security. Everybody gets caught. It happens, all right? We all, at some point in our lives, have fallen victim to a phishing email in some way, shape, or form. So let's not put all the blame on users. Let's not put all the blame on IT. Let's just say we need to get better with being able to recognize some of the more advanced phishing emails that are going out these days. All right. So once it's there, though, once it's on the system, why is it not being stopped? Why is there nothing that is preventing this from moving on and moving forward and working its way through our systems? Part of that has to do with the way it is using certain protocols or methods to go from system to system. All right, some of these have changed over time, and sometimes they're a little bit harder to spot. Other reasons is because the signature has changed. Now, what is a signature, you may ask? Well, it's easy. All right, a signature is actually a hash value of what that program is. All right. So any file on your computer has a hash value. It has a signature, and these signatures get stored into a database, which then gets pushed down to your anti-malware solution. Now, with all the advances in anti-malware solutions over the years, we have ones that rely on artificial intelligence, machine learning, behavioral analytics, whatever you want to call it. All right, some analytical engine is built into a lot of the newer solutions that are out there. Okay, you may ask, well then, why isn't it working? Well, let's be honest, not all of them are always implemented in the correct way. All right, so maybe you have a computer that doesn't have the right policies on it. Maybe it's sitting in a test lab somewhere that just so happens to have access to your main network due to lack of network segmentation or whatever the case may be. But regardless, it's still getting there. And signatures are really one of the key reasons why. Because since it's so new, all right, and since they keep changing the code so that the signature always changes, and a lot of these ransomware variants, the signature changes every time it hits a new computer in your network. So though you may be looking for one signature, like, oh, I know what it is now, by the time it's on that next computer, that signature's changed. All right, they've already modified enough of the code that value you have is no longer good. And that is why a lot of your old school anti-malware solutions, like the older Nortons and McAfee's, and that's not saying they're newer stuff, just their older variations that solely relied on signatures, really don't do us a lot of good these days. All right, I mean, they help catch some of the older malware out there that people still tend to use on occasion. But for things like ransomware, where your signature is constantly changing, it doesn't really do us a whole lot of good. So there are options available that will make your life easier. Excuse me. One of them is something like Bitdefender, Cylance, CrowdStrike. List goes on. I mean, there's a slew of them out there that all have some type of analytical engine that goes beyond just signature-based checks. All right, as long as it has something like a file watch. So a lot of these ransomware variants actually run some type of bash or PowerShell code, depending on what operating system it falls on, to execute its encryption functions and do a lot of its dangerous stuff. So you need to have something on there that watches for this, all right? Watches for files being modified by PowerShell. Watches for, a executable on your system doing something that maybe it shouldn't be doing, all right? So it doesn't have a signature that it's aware of, but it's doing something that just seems suspicious. So it'll get blocked, all right? You want something that will block PowerShell scripts. If you're on a Windows box, you want something that'll block like shell scripts on a Mac box or on a Linux box. Anything that's going to run like a .sh or anything like that. So these are things you can do from an IT and a security perspective, things that we need to look at going forward to really protect our clients. And honestly, these are the answers to the users as to why these things still happen. Part of it is us as end users. The other part of it is we don't have the proper solutions in place, or rather, we have solutions in place that are able to catch these, but they are not implemented properly. Because let's be honest, if you take something like Cylance and you just install it and assume it's good to go because, you know, you're like, yeah, I just need to install it and it's ready to go, you're wrong. If you don't have a security team to configure it properly, or a pro serve team or anything like that to manage and care and feed it and have all the policies and make sure your systems are all on the right policies, if you don't have things like that set up, it is worthless. All right. It's no better than any other antivirus out there that watches for signatures. And that goes for anything else. Bitdefender, CrowdStrike, any of these analytical engines, there's things that they can catch, but they only catch it if you have the system that it is initially found on and any system thereafter configured in such a way that it is supposed to block it. If you're allowing things, then that is on whoever configured that software. And if a security team did not configure it and the business just bought it because they went to some conference or something else like that and they saw the new blinky lights or heard the new ad or whatever the case may be and thought this is going to be the answer to all my problems, and they didn't have someone actually configure it for them in the right way, this is why it is still relevant. This is why malware like this is still relevant. Now, nothing is 100% foolproof. Nothing. I don't care what anybody tells you. Nothing is foolproof. But it is configuring things the right way that will help mitigate future spread and help mitigate your systems now. Same with network segmentation. All right, things like that help prevent malware that and worms that spread on their own from jumping from one network to the next because they're not allowed through. Okay, so these are things that we can do and we can look at as security professionals to help protect networks. So if I were you, and if I am a security professional watching this, and I have not done my research on these different endpoint detection and response solutions, EDR, then I would really take a look at it. If you as a company do not have the manpower to manage these solutions, I would look at your MDR companies, all right? The companies out there that run managed services that are meant to manage these platforms for you so that you are better protected. And again, let me repeat, nothing is foolproof. You are not guaranteed 100% secure unless you unplug it from the internet and put it in the ground 6 feet under in a lead and concrete box. That is the only time it's 100% secure. And you might as well pull the power from it too, because there's always a way. The malicious attackers are always going to find a way. We just got to do what we can to mitigate the risk footprints as much as possible. So please stop relying on signatures. Really invest in your endpoint protection. Again, if you don't have the team to manage it, look at some of your MSSPs out there. All right, this is what they do. All right, this is what they specialize in, is your MDR, so managed detection and response. They take these EDR solutions and they manage it for you. And they'll sit down with you and they'll talk to you about it. And they'll work through everything you need. So, saying that, it is Tech Tuesday. I hope this video was, something viable for you. And as we're coming to the end, go ahead, hit that subscribe button, hit the like button, and hit that bell so that you get notified anytime I put out a new video. And if you wouldn't mind, and if you feel froggy, go ahead and go to patreon.com/cyberwarriorstudios. All my supporters, I love you guys, and I continue to hope to gain more support as I go through and do this. And feel free to check out my merchandise shop, cyberwarriorstudios.com. And if you ever want to put any input or be part of the community, I have a subreddit now, r/cyberwarriorstudios, and as always, my Discord server. So you guys enjoy your Tuesday, and I'll catch you next time.